The NBA season is only 1 month away. It's come so fast. It feels like we were just watching the finals. And I know who I believe will go to the finals this year, who I believe will be the number 1 seed, the 6th seed, the 7th seed. I have my complete NBA predictions for the whole year, the winners of the season, the losers, the teams who rise, the teams who fall. So follow along with me. I'm going to go through my complete NBA predictions for the 2025-2026 NBA season. I'm going to start out with the teams that are not making the play in, completely not making the playoffs, have no chance. They'll be out of the play in this year. All right, starting out with the West. It's going to be the Suns, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Trailblazers, and Jazz. And what I mean when I said they had no chance, I mean that they're going to be out of the play-in. So there's no chance that they get in the playoffs. I'm not saying that these teams are like terrible or anything, but these are the teams that I believe will not make the play-in in the West. So the Suns, they have Devin Booker, and I want to believe that he can get them to the playoffs. But why would I believe that when they couldn't do it with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal last year? So the Suns are not making the playoffs, and they're not making the play-in this year either. And I have the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies not making the play-in. I know last year they made the playoffs after being in the play-in, and they actually had a good game against the Thunder. But it's not really what the Grizzlies don't have this year. It's more of what the teams above them do have, and they did lose Desmond Bane. So I don't think they're going to be getting any better, while the other teams around them are getting better. So the Grizzlies will be out of the play-in this year. Now the Kings, the Trailblazers, and the Jazz, they didn't do anything to get me excited about their season this year. Obviously, they're all going to have their young players that maybe one of them could be great this year, but I don't see either of those three teams making the play-in this year, and they really don't have anybody like the Grizzlies or Suns where I'm like, all right, this guy, if anybody, at least they could get them in the play-ins like Ja and Devin Booker. I don't have anybody on those teams. So I think these teams will also be out of the play-in. Now going over to the East, out of the play-in, I have the Heat, the Nets, the Wizards, and the Raptors, and the Hornets too. And now 4 of those teams, the Nets, the Wizards, the Raptors, and the Hornets, were all out of the play-in last year too. And I don't think anything is going to change for them. I think they'll be back out of the play-in, back at the bottom of the East. And then the Heat, no Jimmy, no playoffs. Say it with me. No Jimmy, no playoffs. I actually went to a Heat game last year, and it was not fun to watch the Heat when Jimmy wasn't in. And we saw how it was at the end of last season when Jimmy wasn't there. We saw them versus the Cavs in the playoffs when Jimmy wasn't there. So once again, no Jimmy, no playoffs. And then for the rest of the teams, kind of like the Grizzlies, the King, or not the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Trailblazers, and the Jazz in the West, the rest of these teams, the Nets, Wizards, Hornets, and Raptors, what is there to get excited about where you say this team is really going to get over the hump and make it into the play-in or the playoffs this year when they didn't last year? So the Hornets have LaMelo Ball. I mean, you can get excited about watching him, but I don't see them going into the playoffs or the play-in. The Nets, their biggest move was getting Michael Porter Jr. That's not going to get them into the play-in himself. And the Wizards and Raptors, they might have a young player that plays great for them this year, but that's for the future, and I'm not going to predict that any of these young players, especially the ones the Wizards and Raptors got, are going to take them over the hump this year. I don't see it. I don't see them, either of those teams, going into the playoffs. And then we're going to go back to the West here, going now through the play-in teams in the West, 10 through 7th seeds. Starting out with the 10th seed is the Pelicans. So they'll be going from the bottom of the league into the play-in. So they'll be one of the teams that didn't make the play-in last year, now into the play-ins. It's gonna be the Pelicans, and that's because Zion is there now. He's gonna be there for more games than last year, and the more games Zion plays, the more secure spot they'll have in the play-in. I don't see them making the 6th or better seed to have a firm spot in the playoffs, but I do see them making the play-in because Zion will be there more this year. And then for the Mavericks, I have them at number 9. Everyone's really excited about the Mavericks this year. I think I saw Stephen A. Smith projected them to win the championship. I didn't watch that. I just saw like a photo of saying Stephen A. Smith projects the Mavericks to win it. I'm not that excited about the Mavericks this year. Obviously, they have Cooper Flag. I'll probably go to a game here in Dallas this year to watch him. But when's the team going to be healthy? Even when Anthony Davis comes back, is he going to be injured again? Is Kyrie going to get injured again? I think they do have a good roster. I'm very excited to watch Flag this year, but they're a play-in team this year. At number 8, the Warriors. Steph keeps getting older, and the Warriors aren't really getting better, right? They added Jimmy. Now, I said no Jimmy, no playoffs for the Heat, but I don't really think he's going to make this Warriors team so much better this year. Obviously, he's going to be a good addition, but I see them being back in the play-in for the Warriors. This is going to be Steph's team once again. Steph carrying this team once again. So I don't see Steph getting them above the play-in. And then at number 7, I have the Rockets. Now, I know they were the number 2 seed last year, but it's going to be really hard for them to repeat that again this year with just the sheer amount of great teams and dominance, spread out through the West. I know they added Kevin Durant, but we've obviously seen that Kevin Durant, adding him, does not equal more regular season wins for your team. So I don't see the Rockets repeating what they did last year. I don't think they're going to go down. I think they're actually going to become a better team. But there's so many teams in the West. There's so many good teams. I think they'll be at the 7th seed this year. Now let's stay in the West and go through the 6th to the 1st seed in the West. Now at number 6, I have the Spurs moving up into the playoffs this year. Wemby's going to be healthy longer this year. He should be. The Spurs have a really all-around set team. And when you have a guy who's looked at as a generational player, a player who could be the next best thing in the league like Wemby is, and you add that they got the 2nd overall pick. Now, I don't know what Dylan Harper is going to be, but that's just, when you're that expectations, you have those high expectations, and you get the 2nd overall pick, I think they're going to be a nice team this year. I'm excited to watch them. Let's see what Wemby can do. At number 5, I have the Nuggets. Now, we know what the Nuggets are. They didn't really do too much over the offseason. They gave away Porter Jr. They brought in Cam Johnson. I don't think it's going to change too much for them. Now, they did really surprise me last year in the playoffs, playing so well with a brand new head coach. So maybe this new head coach will really spark something in them, and they'll be even better this year. But like I said, they're already one of the best teams in the league. That's just the truth. You can't debate that they're one of the best teams in the league. But there's a lot of great teams, like I've been saying, in the West. So 5th seed, I don't think that means that the Nuggets are going to be a worse team this year, but it's hard in the West. Now I'm going to move on to number 4, the Lakers. Now the Lakers, you've probably been hearing about them all year, and you're tired of it. But with Luka Doncic, this team is special. I like that they added Smart. I like that they added Ayton. And this is Luka's team this year. I don't want to hear this year, LeBron James, he waits till the playoffs. Oh, the Lakers, they're gonna start going in the playoffs. That's when you're really gonna see them. If the Lakers want to be great this year, they need to get going in the regular season. And they were the 3 seed last year. But over LeBron's career, we've heard, oh, he's just gonna go crazy in the playoffs. He doesn't need to be great in the regular season. Well, it's not like that anymore. He's not able to just dominate the whole playoffs anymore. So they need a good matchup to start this playoffs off. I have the Lakers being the number 4 seed. The number 3 seed, I have the Timberwolves. Once again, kind of like the Nuggets, we know what they are. They're a great team. I wish they would have changed a little more from last year, but the Timberwolves, they're not really going to be looking too much at the regular season. They've been to 2 conference finals in a row. They need to take that next step and get to the finals this year. That's what matters for them. At number 2, the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, they have the oldest team in the league, and we've seen that this has not really been a successful plan for other teams to bring in a bunch of older guys past their prime to the Clippers. But obviously, I like it. I'm saying the Clippers are going to go too. I'm just going to throw out everything that I've seen with all these old teams. Everything that I've seen. I don't know why I did my hearing. Everything that I've seen with all these old teams, I'm gonna deny that. I'm just gonna put it to the back of my mind, and I'm gonna say the Clippers are gonna be great this year. you have Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden. Then they added Brook Lopez. I mean, this is a really all around, really well built and stacked team. And I really love the Chris Paul move. I know he's going to retire after this year. I know he's way past his prime. But Chris Paul back to the Clippers, doesn't that get you excited? I have the Clippers at the number 2 seed. And then, of course, you know it's the Thunder at the number 1 seed. I don't see them going down from what they were last year, at least in the regular season. I don't see them losing that number 1 spot. They might not win as many games as last regular season, but they're not losing that number 1 spot. They're a great, young, obviously great. The champions, they're young. They're going to stay at that number 1 spot this year. There isn't too much to say about the Thunder. So let's go on to the East now. For the East, in the play-in teams, at number 10, I have the Chicago Bulls. I didn't like them moving on from Lonzo Ball. Besides that, I didn't really care too much about what they did in the offseason. Nothing really stood out to me as a make or break move for the Bulls this year. So I think they'll be close to what they were last year, and they'll be at that number 10 spot. Now, at 9, I have the Indiana Pacers. This is sad for the Pacers. I wish it wasn't like this. I loved watching them in the playoffs last year, and I'm sorry, Pacers fans, but no Halliburton, no Miles Turner. I see them being in the play-in this year at the number 9 seed. Number 8, I have the Hawks. Now, Trae Young is a guy I love to watch. I want the Hawks to be great. They actually made some really good off-season moves this year. Besides the Clippers, I think they actually had the best off-season. Obviously, they added Porzingis, and I think the Hawks are going to be better than what they were last year. But like I was saying about the West, there's so much competition in the East this year. It's going to be hard for the Hawks to really cement themselves as a top 6 team and avoid that play-in. So I think they will still be in the play-in. I have them at the number 8 seed. Now at number 7, and this is one of those teams where it's like I don't see the Hawks going up too much, because at number 7 I have the Pistons. And the Pistons, this is their year. I mean, they already really showed it last year, but they're going to show that they're here. They're not an up-and-coming team anymore. They're here. This is their time. So I have the Pistons at number 7, and I really view them a lot better than the other 3 teams I named in the play-in. But like I said, there's a lot of competition in the East, so I have the Pistons at number 7. Now, for the East, on the 6th best teams, number 6, I have the Magic. Like the Pistons, I really view them pretty close, the Magic and the Pistons, number 7 and number 6. And the Magic, they're going to show that they are here this year. They're not an up-and-coming team. Oh, wait a couple more years, wait till next year. No, they're going to show that this is their year. They are here now. I like that move for Desmond Bane that they made. I don't think it's going to change their team a crazy amount and turn them into one of the top 3 teams in the East, but I think they will be very good this year. I have them at the number 6 seed. And then at the 5 seed, I mentioned earlier that the Spurs had the 2nd overall pick after already having a promising team. How about a great, stacked team getting the 3rd overall pick in the draft? I mean, even if VJ Edgecombe doesn't become great, the 76ers are going to be a great team this year. Then you give a great team the 3rd overall pick. That's just a recipe for success. And Joel Embiid is going to be back. Jared McCain is going to be back. Maxey is going to be back. This is a really, really stacked team. I'm going to have a lot of fun watching the 76ers this year. At number 4, I have the Celtics. Now, it's sad what's happened to the Celtics. Jason Tatum's out. We know that Porzingis is gone. We know that they lost a lot of players. They lost Al Horford, which when I've been watching the Celtics for so long now, I mean, how long has he been with the Celtics now? Or not anymore, but he was a vital part of that team. And when I thought of the Celtics, I thought of Al Horford. So losing him is going to be a lot bigger than what I think people realize. But they were still such a stacked team, and they had so much depth. So I don't believe that they're going to drop too much. Obviously, they're not going to have that win total that they had last year. They're going to probably a 10 or 15 wins less. They're not going to be fighting for the number 1 seed like they have been. But they're still going to be a great team. Jaylen Brown is going to lead this team very well, and I like the Celtics this year. Now, number 3, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. This is because of Giannis. I mean, it's just Giannis. If they didn't have Giannis, they probably wouldn't even be a play-in team. What else is there to say? Giannis, he's one of the best few players in the league. He's amazing. As long as he keeps playing the way he does, the Bucks are going to be in contention in the East. So the Bucks at the 3 seed. At number 2, the New York Knicks. If they're going to have any year with this roster, it's got to be this year. It has to be this year. No more next season. No more in a couple years. It's got to be this year for the New York Knicks. I love that they got rid of Thibodeau. I was tired of the Knicks having tired players playing all game. I love that the Knicks got rid of him. They're finally going to have rested players throughout the season going into the playoffs. The Knicks at the number 2 seed. And then for the Cavs at number 1, same thing. If there's going to be any year with this roster, it's got to be this year. If it's not this year, they've really got to change some things. And I already wanted them to change some things. I wanted them to get rid of Darius Garland. They didn't. I wanted them to get rid of Jarrett Allen. They didn't. They did add Lonzo Ball, which I liked. But I wanted them to do more in the offseason. So they'll be kind of what they were last year. Hopefully they don't lose their confidence that they had last season. They're going to have great coaching. They're going to be a great team. I have them back at number 1. But this has got to be their year. So now I've shown you the play-in teams. Let's get through those play-in teams so that we can get into the playoff predictions. So let's stay in the East here. And for my play-in, the games would be the Pistons versus the Hawks and the Pacers versus the Bulls. Like I said, I like the Pistons a lot this year. I think they win that game versus the Hawks, and the Pistons become the number 7 seed. And then I think the Hawks make it out of that little scramble there and get the 8 seed. Over in the West, it would be the Rockets versus the Warriors and the Mavs versus the Pelicans to start out. I don't think Steph has enough to carry this team past the great Rockets team this year. The Rockets get that 7 seed. Then Mavs versus Pelicans. I like the Mavs to win that. And then win versus the Warriors. I like the Mavs to make it in. I mean, if they can be healthy, they're a really great team. Kyrie, Anthony Davis, those guys by themselves are already great. It's a pretty good roster. And then you add Cooper Flag. This team's going to be really very fun to watch. I have them at the 8th seed going into the playoffs. So now, with everything decided, all the standings set up, this is my playoffs going into the 2025-26 season. This is my playoff predictions. So, on the East, I have the Cavs facing the Hawks, the Celtics facing the 76ers, the Bucks facing the Magic, the Knicks facing the Pistons. Then on the West, we have the Clippers versus the Rockets, the Timberwolves versus the Spurs, the Lakers versus the Nuggets. What a matchup. What a playoff rivalry that is becoming. And the Thunder versus the Mavericks. So, where do I want to start out? Where am I going to go? I'm going to stay on the West side here. I'm going to go to Clippers versus Rockets. Now, the Clippers, like I said, they have that old roster, but it's a stacked roster. And you have the Rockets, who were the number 2 seed last year, a great young team, and they added Kevin Durant. But I don't like that Kevin Durant move as much as other people like it. I really don't. He's obviously a great scorer, and he's obviously one of the best NBA players of all time. But his time is almost up in the NBA. I don't think it will be enough to get over the team of guys whose time was almost up in the NBA. I have the Clippers moving on to the second round. Then Timberwolves versus Spurs. Like I said, I like Wemby and the Spurs this year. They're going to be a lot better. They're going to be very exciting to watch. But the Timberwolves are too good. They've been to back-to-back conference finals. They're going to beat the Spurs in round 1 and move on to round 2. Then the Lakers versus the Nuggets. What a playoff rivalry that these two teams have. You have Jokic, my best player in the league. I think he's the best. I think he was the MVP last year. Versus a Lakers team who I think is going to be a lot better this year. And they might not be getting the respect that they deserve because they are the Los Angeles Lakers and people like to hate on the Lakers. So I'm taking the Lakers to beat Jokic, the great Jokic, and to beat the Nuggets. I don't think Jokic has enough of a supporting cast around him to beat the Lakers this season. And then Thunder versus the Mavs. Like I said, the Mavs are going to be great. And if the Mavs are completely healthy, this would actually be a very competitive series. But I don't see them being completely healthy. And I don't see the Thunder losing in the first round. First, the Mavericks. The Thunder, the reigning champions, move on. Let's go to the East side for round one. I'm going to start out with the Cavaliers versus the Hawks, the number 1 versus the 8 seed. The Cavaliers take that matchup. The Cavaliers, their coaching is too good. Their team is all around too good. Too well matched up versus the Hawks. The Cavaliers take that one easy. Then I have Celtics versus 76ers. And Jaylen Brown, he did a great job to get the Celtics this far in the year with the 4th seed. But that's as far as he's going to take them. The 76ers roster is too good. The 76ers move on. Then I have the Bucks versus the Magic. Like I said, I have Giannis carrying the Bucks there. And the Magic, this year to show they are here. And they're going to show they're here versus the Bucks. They're going to beat Giannis. And the Magic are going to move on to the second round. Then I have the Knicks versus the Pistons. The Pistons, once again, they're going to show that they are here like the Magic. But the Knicks, they've shown they've been here for a little bit now. And the Knicks are a little too good. And they match up a little too well versus the Pistons. Especially with the added, the rest that these players are finally going to have for the Knicks. The Knicks move on to round 2. So let's stay in the East, starting out with round 2. We're going to have the Knicks playing the Magic and the Cavs playing the 76ers. So in the Knicks versus the Magic game, once again, the Knicks playing that young team that's trying to show they are here. And once again, the Knicks win that matchup. I just love the Knicks this year. Without Thibodeau, give me the Knicks to beat the Magic. Then we have the Cavs versus the 76ers. Now, I had 2 matchups this year that were really hard for me to choose in the playoffs. This is one of them. The Cavs, obviously, have great coaching. They have a great all-around team. And the 76ers, their problem has been their health. I mean, last year, if they could have been a healthy team, they might have gone on to the finals. So that's the 76ers' problem. That's what it's been. But I think they will be able to beat the Cavs this year, and they will play the Knicks in the conference finals. Moving over to the West is second round. We have the T-Wolves versus the Clippers and the Thunders versus the Lakers. Starting out with the Timberwolves versus the Clippers, I think that Anthony Edwards will not be able to do enough. Those Timberwolves will not be able to do enough. And the Clippers, those old guys, I really like that old team. I really like that old team. They have so many good players. I see them going on to the conference finals. Then we have Thunder versus the Lakers. This is the matchup the NBA for sure wants. This would be the number 1 matchup for the NBA. They'd want it to be in the conference finals. But I like Luka. I like Luka to carry this team. Not even necessarily carry it, but be the focal point of this team over LeBron. Luka's going to do it. Take the Lakers to the conference championship. Going back to the East, 76ers versus the Knicks. This is a hard matchup to pick. But I think that once again, the Knicks, without Thibodeau, will be able to show that rest really mattered. And the Knicks will be able to go over the hump, over the 76ers, and go to the finals. And Lakers versus Clippers. LA versus LA. This was the other matchup that was very tough for me to choose. I have the Los Angeles Lakers going to the finals this season, beating out the team of old guys. I think with Luka, he's going to be too good. I mean, let's not forget that Luka took the Mavericks to the finals 2 years ago. And now with LeBron James on his team, with a better Lakers team all around, he's going to take the Lakers to the finals this season. So my NBA championship of the 2025 to 2026 season is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the New York Knicks. This would be maybe the biggest NBA Finals of all time. I mean, you can't get you go from the Thunder and the Pacers to the Lakers and the Knicks. You can't get a bigger jump than that with the size of these fan bases, the size of these teams, how much it means to these cities. New York versus LA. What a matchup that would be. And you're going to act like you hate it, seeing the Knicks and the Lakers in the finals, but you love it. You would love to watch it. And in that finals matchup, I think that the Knicks, with all the rest they have, with Tom Thibodeau being out, with the improved team that they have, with Jalen Brunson, will lose to the Lakers, and Luka and LeBron will be too much for the Knicks to handle. Now, like I said earlier, LeBron, as he's gotten later in his career, we saw it last year, has not been able to be that player that he was in the playoffs to carry the Cavs to the finals, right, that we saw. But I think if LeBron makes the finals this year, it will be the season on the line. I think he'll say, you know what? This is going to be my last season. I'm in the finals this year. I'm done. I'm putting everything out there in this finals. He might even get injured because he goes so hard, and he's so old now. But I think Luka and LeBron in the finals will be unstoppable because of how hard they're going to go with that Lakers team all around them. JJ Redick in his second year. They're going to be great this year. I have Luka and LeBron winning the finals for the Lakers, and the Lakers are the NBA champions next season. All right. Let me know what you thought. Let me know who you think is going to be your finals champion. But I have Luka and LeBron winning the championship. Thank you so much for supporting the Sandbar Playbook. My name is Aiden Agizio. If you want to watch another video, you can click here. If you want to subscribe, you can click right here. So thank you so much. Make sure you comment what you thought, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.